Jordan. Michael Jordan enters the 1989 Eastern Conference first round as a 26-year-old shooting guard averaging 32.5 points in the regular season, but he immediately pushes that number to 34.8 points per game in the playoffs because Chicago has no margin for error. Game 5 against Cleveland stays within one possession for the final minute, and with 6 seconds left the Bulls trail 100-99, forcing Jordan to create everything himself. He receives the inbound, takes 3 hard dribbles to his right, rises over Craig Elo from just inside the foul line, and releases the shot with the clock expiring at 0.0. Because the ball drops cleanly, Chicago wins 101-100, takes the series 3-2, and eliminates a Cavaliers team that won 57 games that season. In that moment, a single-made jumper flips win probability, series outcome, and Jordan's postseason reputation all at once. That sudden silence inside Richfield Coliseum signals that this is no longer just a promising scorer, but a player who decides endings. Because Cleveland builds its defense around forcing the ball out of Jordan's hands all series, that final possession becomes a direct test of philosophy rather than tactics. Jordan shoots only 47.7% in the regular season, but in this series he attacks relentlessly, attempts over 25 shots per game, and accepts the inefficiency because Chicago has no alternative creator. The shot works not because it is a perfect look, but because Jordan elevates before Elo recovers, creating separation with timing rather than speed. This basket does not win a championship, but it establishes a pattern where the ball stays with Jordan when the season is on the line. From this point forward, coaches, opponents, and teammates all assume the same ending unless proven otherwise. And that expectation directly sets up the way future buzzer beaters are remembered and judged. Ray Allen. The 2013 NBA Finals reached Game 6 with Miami trailing San Antonio 3-2, and with 5.2 seconds left the Spurs lead 95-92, already positioning staff near the scorer's table. Because LeBron James misses a 3, Chris Bosh secures the offensive rebound despite Miami being undersized, immediately kicking the ball to the right corner instead of resetting the play. Ray Allen, a 38-year-old shooting guard with a career 40.0% three-point average, backpedals behind the line and releases the shot with 1.9 seconds remaining. The basket ties the game at 95-95, forces overtime, and flips San Antonio's win probability from over 95% to essentially 0 in one possession. Miami eventually wins 103-100 in overtime, extending the series and preventing the Spurs from clinching the title on that floor. Because one rebound creates one shot, this moment reframes clutch plays as collective events rather than solo heroics. That single possession matters because Allen averages only 10.3 points in the 2013 Finals, yet delivers the most valuable shot of the series when spacing and awareness matter more than volume scoring. San Antonio chooses not to foul up 3, a decision later debated for years because the downside becomes historically catastrophic. This shot directly leads to Miami winning Game 7 2 nights later, securing LeBron James his second championship and Finals MVP. Without this basket, the Big Three era likely ends in disappointment instead of validation. And that consequence raises a bigger question about how risk management defines buzzer beater history. Lillard. The 2019 Western Conference first round ends in Game 5 with Portland leading Oklahoma City 118-115 and 0.9 seconds left on the clock. Because Damian Lillard already scores 47 points on the night, the Thunder still choose to guard him straight up rather than trap near half court. Lillard calmly dribbles out the clock, steps back from 37 feet, and releases a three-pointer directly over Paul George. The shot ends the game, ends the series 4-1, and sends Russell Westbrook and George home in the first round. Lillard finishes the series averaging 33.0 points, while Oklahoma City posts a defensive rating that fails to justify single coverage. That decision permanently expands what fans consider a good shot. Paul George later calls it a bad shot, but the data says otherwise because Lillard shoots over 36% from beyond 30 feet that season. This basket accelerates the league's acceptance of ultra-deep three-point attempts, especially late in games when spacing overrides efficiency models. It also cements Lillard's reputation as a closer who prefers control over chaos. From that moment, defensive schemes must account for range as a primary threat, not a gimmick. And that shift sets the stage for the next generation of playoff buzzer beaters. Kawhi. The 2019 Eastern Conference Semifinals reached Game 7 with Toronto and Philadelphia tied 90-90 and 4.2 seconds remaining. Because Kawhi Leonard carries a playoff usage rate above 30%, Nick Nurse designs the final play to isolate him on the right baseline. Leonard rises over Joel Embiid, releases the shot as time expires, and watches the ball bounce on the rim 4 times before falling in. The basket gives Toronto a 92-90 win and becomes the first Game 7 buzzer beater in NBA history. Leonard averages 34.7 points in the series, forcing Philadelphia's defense to accept single coverage late. That bounce changes not just a series, but a franchise's trajectory. This shot matters because Toronto eventually wins the 2019 championship, and without it the entire run likely ends in the second round. Philadelphia's defensive alignment works correctly, yet probability loses to physics and patience. Leonard's calm response contrasts sharply with the chaos around him, reinforcing his reputation as an emotionless closer. The randomness of the bounce reminds everyone how thin the margin is at the highest level. And that randomness leads directly into the era of younger stars embracing late-game responsibility. Dončić. The 2020 Western Conference First-Round Game 4 features Dallas trailing the Clippers 2-1, with 3.7 seconds left in overtime and the score tied 135-135. Because Luka Dončić already records 40 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, Los Angeles still switches instead of blitzing. Dončić steps back against Reggie Jackson, hits the 3 at the buzzer, and secures a 135-133 win. At 21 years old, he becomes the youngest player to hit a playoff overtime buzzer beater. The performance accelerates expectations for young superstars entering the postseason. It also signals that experience is no longer a prerequisite for late-game dominance. Rules. Since the early 2000s, the NBA formalizes timing rules down to 0.1 seconds, allowing tip-ins and catch-and-shoot attempts under strict replay review. Because instant replay expands after 2014, end-of-game decisions now take 2 to 3 extra minutes, increasing accuracy but reducing spontaneity. These changes reduce the number of true buzzer beaters, but magnify the pressure and scrutiny on each attempt. As margins tighten, execution becomes less about improvisation and more about preparation. And that evolution explains why every iconic buzzer beater feels rarer, heavier, and more permanent.